Well, mission happens as the Spirit works through your weakness. Hey, I'm Pastor Matt here with your Missionary Pathway Mission Insight. And this insight comes to you compliments of a message I heard from my friend Pastor Sam on New Year's Eve. He preached a message about how God works in our weakness, and he shared a story that I think hits to the heart of mission and how we should view our role in mission. See, there was this famous concert pianist, Keith Jarrett, who was scheduled to perform a concert in Cologne, Germany in 1974. The concert was sold out. And as preparations were being made for this concert and subsequent live concert recording, somebody made a mistake when it came to the piano. And instead of rolling out the concert piano fit for a master pianist, somebody accidentally grabbed the piano that was an old, broken down practice piano. Pieces of felt were missing. The piano was out of tune. It was barely fit for a rehearsal, let alone a master pianist's live recorded concert. But by the time the mistake was found out, it was too late to get a new piano. And as the crowd was gathering outside and Keith Jarrett came in after a long and arduous travel schedule, having not slept well for days, he walked in and saw the piano. And as he saw the piano and tried to play it and it was out of tune and keys weren't working, he realized this would never work. And so he began to walk out ready to cancel the show. But the concert promoter ran out and begged him, "Keith, please play. We will do everything we can to get the piano as good as possible." So Keith, finally looking over, agreed. And so they spent hours late into the night preparing this piano. And then finally Keith sat down. He sat down at a piano that was nowhere near what it needed to be for the venue or the concert that was gathered. And as he began to play, he had to work around keys and areas of the piano that weren't working. But as he played harder. And all of a sudden, as the crowd looked in and they realized the piano that was being played and the man that was playing the piano, they realized what they were witnessing was something great, because this broken down piano should have never been able to produce the sound that Keith made it produce. But in that moment, what people were seeing was what is now hailed as one of the single greatest solo piano recordings of all time. And it wasn't because the piano was great, but it was because the master who was playing the piano was so good. And when I heard that story, I thought, this is the heart of mission, especially when you think about Paul's words to the church in Corinth. In the church in Corinth, Paul looked out and he shared a story of his own weakness and the thorn in his side. And Paul, one of the greatest church planters, the greatest church planter of all time, was praying to God, "God, take away these weaknesses, these thorns in my side." But then he heard God say to him, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And Paul went on to say this. He said, "Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly in my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weakness, insults, hardship, persecution, and calamity. For when I am weak, then I am strong." And I love that story, and I love those words of Paul, because the reality is, oftentimes we allow our weaknesses to stand in the way of mission. But the truth of mission is not a God who works through strong people to do great things. But the reality of mission is that the Spirit of God works through our weaknesses to create great impact in our world. See, the secret of mission is mission happens when an imperfect life is in the hands of a perfect Savior. So if you often let your weakness stand in the way of what you think God is capable of, remember, it's not about the instrument, it's about the master playing it. And when God has your imperfect life in his hands, the Spirit does powerful things in mission through you, not because you are strong in every area you need to be strong, but because God works through our weakness to do incredible things in mission. So as you step into and think about your own mission, I want to encourage you. It's not your strength that God's going to work in most. It's in your weaknesses. And if you'd like help walking through mission and figuring out how the Spirit can use you to share the gospel in the places you live, work, learn, and play, or how God can use you and your ministry to do that, I want to encourage you, check out the Missionary Pathway. The Missionary Pathway is an incredible resource that you can utilize that will help you learn how to do mission in the places you're already going. And while the list of excuses can be long, long, remember, it's not about the things we aren't that God uses, but it's about who God is He uses. And so if we can help encourage you in that, I want to encourage you in that. So check out themissionarypathway.org, and if there's anything else we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And of course, we're looking forward to another year filled with mission insights like this to encourage you to share the gospel in the places you live, work, learn, and play.